Hello, I'm Juliette Mann. Welcome to Global Business Europe. Our top stories. Hitting a milestone, Nvidia has struck a $500 billion deal with Wall Street to further fuel the AI boom. Intel increases its planned share sale to $20 billion as it too joins the spending spree. And
this is the Chinese chef I was telling you about, Mr. Xu Fu.
Cooking in times of conflict. The new film release in China helping to heat up the country's summer box office. Nvidia has struck a deal with 6 large Wall Street firms to raise more than $500 billion to fund data centers, chip factories and power stations. The 6 companies include Apollo, BlackRock, Blackstone, Brookfield, Goldman Sachs and KKR. Nvidia's chief executive, Jensen Huang, called the move a major milestone for Nvidia and the AI industry. Rob Nice is the founding partner of H-Tree Capital, a London-based technology venture capital firm. Always good to have you on Global Business Europe. So why does the world's most valuable company need this kind of help?
Look, I think in this market, capital is everything. Raising capital to build these data centers, to build these hyperscalers is absolutely essential. And for NVIDIA, it's a way of raising capital in a non-dilutive way. So it doesn't dilute their value. It gives them additional pockets of capital. And they're really trying to reshape the narrative to get even more capital in beside the debt markets to get actual investable capital in from things like pensions.
Well, critics call this circular financing, Nvidia helping fund the very companies that buy its chips. Is that a sign of strength in the ecosystem or a warning sign?
I think it's a warning sign. It creates moral hazard. When you're marking up your own deals one after another and you're the beneficiary, it creates an artificial loop of what is the actual valuation. Without any external pricing, it sort of becomes magical money. So I think it is a worrisome thing when you see these things going in circles.
Now, this isn't just Wall Street's own money. I mean, we're talking about these 6 big banks and investors. It's pensions, it's insurance funds too. If this bet doesn't pay off, who actually carries the risk?
Well, I think it's getting shifted around, and what he's trying to do is shift the definition of risk from things like debt that are inherently more risky to now shifting it more to an asset class, so things like pensions, which normally are quite conservative, get access to things that are actually more risky. So it's a way of mixing the labels a bit and trying to double dip in a way and get high quality debt at a high quality asset rate.
Now, CoreWeave, Supermicro, they report after the bell tonight. Both sit right in the middle of this infrastructure spending story. What would a miss from either of those tell us that Nvidia's $500 billion number can't?
I think the question, at what point does the demand start to slow down? Do we reach a point with the frontier models where the demand isn't quite so high? Right now, there's almost insatiable demand. At some point, we probably do hit a plateau where the demand starts to decline or at least flatten out. I think companies like Supermicro have already pre-briefed that the numbers are going to be good this quarter and up. But there's certainly early indicators we're looking out for to see are these things actually going to flatten out.
Is it going to be a litmus test of whether this big push in terms of AI infrastructure spending is the right move? Because it's going to be a long time before we see these companies making the revenue, right?
Yeah, I think, again, it's an arms race you're seeing right now. Companies like Google raised $10 billion from Berkshire Hathaway and others. You're seeing this big, defensible moat trying to be built that we think will be a generational level defensibility asset. So in this case, I think this is one of many things we'll see going on to build these intense amounts of compute power with a concept that those with the most compute power will win eventually.
Rob Nice from H-Tree Capital, thank you very much. Intel is increasing its stock offering, announced on Monday, from $15 billion to $20 billion. After a red-hot comeback run, Intel's using the sale to support skyrocketing customer demand for AI computing power. Our correspondent, Mitch McGann, is in New York. Hi there, Mitch. So it looks like Intel's seizing the moment after such a strong run on the stock market.
Yeah, hi Julia. Look, that is very much the case. In the last 6 months or so, Intel has really mounted what is an incredible comeback, a red-hot comeback, as you said, is very much the case. In fact, in that 6-month period, their stock has risen about 101% when I last looked in the last half an hour. So a real change in fortune for Intel on the back of what has been strong consumer demand for its products. It really feels like it wasn't that long ago that Intel was in some serious trouble. In late 2024, it was reported that Qualcomm was looking at acquiring parts of that business. That obviously didn't happen in the end, but then last year, Lip-Bu Tan, the chief executive of Intel, was under significant pressure to resign from Donald Trump until he actually met Donald Trump, and they got on quite well. And then the US government bought a 10% stake in the company, and then SoftBank and Nvidia had also invested. So plenty of investment to help Intel, but yes, strong consumer demand. So what's happened here is a stock offering of $15 billion on Monday is now a stock offering of $20 billion on Tuesday. So Intel very confident they are going to generate a significant amount of money out of this. It has been reported that they are trying to raise around $19.7 billion. They say that's going to be used for general corporate purposes, essentially meaning they can use it for whatever they want. It's expected they may use it to increase AI infrastructure in the company, which of course is something that many of these large tech companies are also doing.
So that sounds like a deal that is going to happen, but one that's fallen apart is AstraZeneca's mega merger with Bristol Myers. How did this mega pharma deal crumble?
Yeah, it was only a couple of days ago we were talking about the reports of this. Now, it's seemingly all fallen over in a large part due to investor concern about what this would have meant. Now, this would have been a deal possibly worth $400 billion US. AstraZeneca, the company based in Cambridge over in the UK, buying out this US company, Bristol Myers Squibb. Now, one of the main concerns was that this would be a British company buying an American company, but it may have allowed AstraZeneca to move much of their operations to the United States, obviously concerning many lawmakers, according to reports in the UK. One of the other reasons investors were concerned about this is because Bristol Myers Squibb has a number of drug patents that are soon expiring, meaning other drug companies will be able to make generics, and Bristol Myers Squibb won't be able to make those significant profits on those drugs. So investors were concerned about that. When this report came out, the stock price of AstraZeneca fell. So too many concerns. It seems on the surface this deal is dead, but Bristol Myers Squibb and AstraZeneca never even commented on these reports in the first place.
Mish Bagan in New York, thank you very much. China's car exports continued to surge in July as domestic demand flagged. 918,000 cars were shipped abroad. That's an 88% rise on the previous year. It means roughly a quarter of cars produced in China were sent overseas. BYD led new energy vehicle exports, followed by Chery. Intercontinental Hotels Group said expansion in China and robust demand in the US had boosted profits in the first half of the year. Total group revenue saw a 6% year-on-year rise to $2.7 billion. The parent company of Holiday Inn and Crown Plaza said despite a downturn in the Middle East, it remains on track to meet full-year profit expectations. London Heathrow has lost its title as Europe's busiest airport to Istanbul. The Turkish hub handled more than 8 million passengers last month, while Heathrow recorded fewer than 7.9 million. The conflicts in the Middle East are a major factor behind that shift. The change has also reignited a debate over whether Heathrow needs a third runway. This is Global Business Europe. Still ahead, China's summer movie season. We take a look at the films that are helping with a box office boom. Welcome back to Global Business Europe with me, Juliet Mann. The headlines. Hitting a milestone, Nvidia has struck a $500 billion deal with Wall Street to further fuel the AI boom. Intel increases its planned share sale to $20 billion as it too joins the spending spree. With half of France on amber heat alert, the country is rethinking the way it keeps cool. After a string of brutal heat waves, attitudes are shifting as France faces a new climate reality that many say it's simply not prepared for. Our correspondent Sarah Coates reports from Paris.
For generations, French homes were designed to keep the cold out, not the heat. But this summer, temperatures have soared, with many people saying they simply aren't coping.
It was really intense. I used to live on a third-floor apartment, but I bought the sixth floor just under the zinc roof. I never thought that we would have heat waves as intense and that went for so many days.
Like thousands of people in Paris, Mira lives right under one of the city's iconic zinc rooftops. Despite insulating the apartment, she says it was still unbearably hot during the latest heat wave. Now, she's thinking about something she never thought she would.
I've never considered air conditioning, but I am, for the first time in my life, considering it. I think it's going to be a necessity to stay in this apartment.
For years, French people saw air conditioning as unnecessary, with concerns over their environmental impact, keeping demand low. But after repeated heat waves, climate scientists say that attitude is quickly changing.
One has to say that for years, those units were not considered as necessary in France. That was a kind of superfluous luxury equipment that you would use 2-3 days a year.
But experts believe air conditioning alone isn't the answer. These kind of temperatures were once considered exceptional, but now they're becoming a regular feature of French summers, forcing the country to rethink not just how it responds to heat waves, but how it prepares for them. Adapting to rising temperatures will require much broader changes, from the way homes are renovated to how entire cities are designed.
Regarding the buildings, regarding the city itself, we will need to have more trees, we will need to have more public swimming pools as well. Some of the work schedules will need to be adapted. And potentially, one can even ask, is it a good idea to have end-of-the-year exam in the month of June in school, which is one of the hottest months of the year?
But making those changes will take time and money.
The economy, the city, was conceived for a climate that no longer exists, and which means that a lot of things will need considerable investment. And the difficulty, obviously, is that the government has no money, the city has no money, and therefore we always run the risk of taking emergency measures, whereas what we need would be long-term measures to adapt.
As France braces for the rest of summer, the challenge now is becoming less about getting through the next heat wave and more about preparing for the ones still to come. Sarah Coates, CGTN, Paris.
China is becoming a major source of new medicines, signing 8 of the world's 10 biggest out-licensing deals in the first half of this year. That's worth a record $110 billion. So why is global pharma betting big on China, despite US scrutiny? Hong Fei reports.
Just a decade ago, China was largely importing innovative medicines. Today, it's exporting them. By June, Chinese companies have signed more than 80 out-licensing deals with overseas partners. The medicines target a wide range of diseases, from cancer and obesity to autoimmune and neurological disorders. The biggest deal so far is an $18.5 billion licensing agreement between SPC Pharmaceutical and AstraZeneca. So what's driving this surge?
China's drug regulatory reform in 2015 was a turning point. It cut the time and cost needed to bring innovative medicines to market. China's research capabilities have also advanced rapidly. We've built one of the world's most complete pharmaceutical R&D ecosystems. New financing channels have also allowed pre-revenue biotech startups to thrive. Reform opened the floodgates. Talent, capital, and innovation turned it into a wave.
Developing the same drug in China typically costs 30 to 50% less than in Europe or the US. According to Pfizer, clinical development in China can move 3 times faster at roughly half the cost. And speed matters. U.S. drug makers are rebuilding their pipelines as patents on $200 billion worth of medicines expire by the end of the decade. China offers high-quality drug candidates at a lower cost.
What China does well is find mistakes faster. We test multiple drug candidates in parallel, validate results quickly, and stop unsuccessful projects early. We also have a large patient pool, so clinical recruitment often takes about a year, compared with 2 or 3 years in Europe or the United States.
And now, artificial intelligence could accelerate that advantage even further. But can AI discover new medicines? Or is it simply helping scientists work faster?
AI is a great student. It can find new compounds for known targets. But discovering new targets still requires more effort. Some of our methods don't fit neatly into Western medicine. We should be open to a new language or new ways of approving drugs. It's not about competing with the existing system. We share one goal, treating disease.
Cost and speed may open the door, but in the end, it's scientific excellence that seals the deal. Guangdong-based Kesso became the first Chinese pharmaceutical company to outperform the world's best-selling cancer drug in a head-to-head clinical trial. For many in the industry, that was proof Chinese innovation could compete at the highest level. The next challenge is developing truly first-in-class medicines.
There's still a gap in original target discovery and breakthrough science. The next step is to better connect universities, hospitals, and biotech companies so discoveries move faster from the lab to patients. Traditional Chinese medicine and natural products will also remain an important source of future drug discovery.
Cross-border licensing deals continue to accelerate, shifting increasingly toward early-stage drug development. That suggests growing confidence in China's research capabilities, not just its product. And as partnerships deepen, the next breakthrough medicine may not just be made in China. It could be discovered here, too. Huang Fei, CGTN, Guangzhou.
China's summer movie season is hotting up with a 30-day box office streak and newly released film Once Upon a Time in the Middle East about a Chinese restaurant in Iraq scoring an impressive opening day debut. Here's our correspondent Siobhan McCall with more. Siobhan.
Thanks, Julia. Yes, China's summer movie season lasts from June 1st to the end of this month. And box office revenue topped 8.7 billion yuan as of August the 11th. That's 1.3 billion US dollars. Daily earnings have exceeded close to $15 million or 100 million yuan for 30 consecutive days, highlighting sustained audience demand during the season. Now, 3 films have captured moviegoers' attention, bringing in close to 2/3 of the box office revenue so far. Kung Fu Soccer is in top place, followed by animated film All Wishes Come True and the Hollywood hit Spider-Man Brand New Day. But 2 movies are set to add to that box office momentum. Known in English as Once Upon a Time in the Middle East, this film had its nationwide release in China on August the 11th after 3 days of advanced screenings. And it's made a strong debut, taking more than $26 million on its opening day. The movie tells the story of a chef who travels to Iraq to work in a Chinese restaurant, but then war breaks out. Let's have a look at the trailer.
This is the Chinese chef I was telling you about, Mr. Xu Fu.
我这餐馆现在天天排大队，就是不是白的，这挣钱好时候。
Starring comedian Sheng Teng, the film has been described as a comedy drama, but fans have been moved by the human story of ordinary people caught up in a conflict and seeing the chef risk his life to help rescue local children. Well, this Xiaohongshu user says the movie was heartbreaking and that it left them in tears, while this reviewer praises the use of food as a simple entry point into the chaos of war. It says no matter how great a storm, it can't stop the warmth of human connection. The film's director actually drew inspiration from real-life stories of Chinese workers who were caught up in the 2003 US-led invasion of Iraq to help build the chef's character. And this movie fan put up their review, saying it's rare to find a film that can provoke such deep thought and reflection. Well, the next big release to come in China is Christopher Nolan's action fantasy film based on the ancient Greek poem, The Odyssey. That one is coming out on August the 14th, and it's already made $7 million from early preview screenings, and the vast majority of China's 800-screen IMAX network is expected to be dedicated to the film. Well, let's get more on this. Daniel Luria is Senior Vice President of Content Strategy at the box office company. Daniel, thanks for joining me. What's your assessment of China's box office so far this summer?
Well, thank you for having me, and it's a great occasion to come on to celebrate another great performance from the Chinese box office in this summer holiday season. You mentioned a number of those domestic titles that have already paced ahead of the pack, a diverse number of genres being represented there. And we've also got a number of Hollywood titles as well complementing the offerings. Ultimately, when you look at the infrastructure that the Chinese cinema industry has in terms of movie theaters, it's great to see that they're being serviced by a vibrant domestic industry and a lot of factors, right? I'm personally from Mexico myself, and there's a lot of similarities, I think, to China culturally when we talk about a country with people that build communities all over the world outside of their own country, a very entrepreneurial people, people with a great work ethic, and of course at the center of it being our cuisine. It's something that we share. Anywhere in the world that you go, you'll find a Chinese community, you'll find a Chinese restaurant, and there is this great both expatriate and immigrant network of entrepreneurial professionals working in these restaurants. So to be able to come in with a film that gives a global perspective and how maybe local folks can see those experiences, many of them that who know people that have left the country and have worked at restaurants, I think it's a great conduit to sort of see the world through these very familiar stories on a cultural level.
Spider-Man has been doing well, and actually the lead actors in that film toured around Shanghai, something that got lots of attention on social media. How important is something like that for promoting a film in China and then audiences responding to it?
It's crucial. It's not a guarantee by any means. We've seen over the past, 7, 8, 10 years that Hollywood no longer assumes that the Chinese audiences are going to blindly accept anything that they put out. Getting the Chinese release date is key. And then the second big factor, as you mentioned, is connecting with those local audiences. And you have to put in the work. You have to show up. You have to do the events. You have to do the press. And if you've got a great film behind it, you can see some great results. Before Spider-Man, you had examples like Zootopia 2. And coming ahead, you already mentioned the preview grosses for The Odyssey with that robust Chinese IMAX network. I think Hollywood is going to have a very successful year in the Chinese market in 2026.
Daniel, thank you. Great to speak to you. Daniel Luria from the box office company. And back to you, Juliet.
Thanks, Siobhan. I've got to get a ticket for the IMAX. In southwest China, Chongqing is famous for its dramatic mountains and spicy food, but now it's putting a new spin on sightseeing by motorbike. Yang Jinghua reports.
It's a growing craze in Chongqing, southwest China. As night falls, travelers from around the world gather along Nanbing Road, hopping on motorcycles and capturing cinematic moments against the dramatic backdrop of this mountain city.
So we arrived just earlier this morning. This is the first thing we're doing. We haven't eaten, we haven't gone out for a drink. First thing on our list was to do the motorbike trend.
It's my first time in China, so I thought I want to do everything I can, and this looks like a great activity. So yeah, I just did it.
But before the engines roar, there's a quick lesson. The riders show visitors how to pose, where to look, and how to capture the perfect shot with the motorcycle.
Number one, look. Okay, so it's look straight. 1, 2.
Open your hands.
I like this one the best, the heart.
I think the heart, and this one, it was very nice.
For these international travelers, language barriers are the least of their worries. What matters is the unique experience they are taking away with them.
I feel exhilarated. It was like, I was scared to do it, but I'm really glad I did. And I'm really excited to see how it turns out.
Oh, it was really nice. It's such an experience. I just seen it on Instagram, and now I think I enjoy it a lot, all the process.
Behind this popular experience is a growing motorcycle culture in Chongqing. The city is home to well-established motorcycle industry. Ji Xiaoyu was among the first local riders to explore motorcycle video shoots. Last year, he began reaching out to international enthusiasts through social media.
We have 3 riders on our team. Since September last year, we've worked with approximately 800 to 1,000 foreign visitors.
It's exciting, it's a lot of fun, and it looks great on camera. But above all, safety is always the top priority.
Every night, traffic police officers remain close by to ensure safety.
During the shoot, we always wait for the traffic lights and make sure there are no vehicles behind us before we set off. The fast-moving effect you see in the videos is created through editing. Our actual speed is only around 20 to 30 kilometers per hour.
I think it was pretty safe. If I had some questions, I could ask them. And I think we used a translator if I had some deeper questions. The staff was amazing and they made me feel secure all the way.
As Chongqing welcomes more international travelers, local riders like Ji say they will continue improving their services, and they hope more visitors can see the city from a different perspective, one filled with dazzling lights, speed, and excitement. Yang Jinghao, CGTN, Chongqing.
The headlines again. Hitting a milestone. NVIDIA has struck a $500 billion deal with Wall Street to further fuel the AI boom. And Intel increases its planned share sale to $20 billion as it too joins the spending spree. That is it for Global Business Europe. Thanks for watching. Coming up next on CGTN Africa Live. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. From all the team here in London, goodbye.